Hello? Hello! I wanted my first video back to be an all-encompassing, in-depth refresher tutorial for my new viewers. This is everything you need to get the perfect gel manicure at home. These first three things are not must-haves, but they're more like nice-to-haves when getting ready to do your nails. If you don't have a designated space to do your nails and you find yourself maybe using the kitchen table or a countertop or the coffee table, I highly suggest getting one of these protective silicone mats in case you have a little accident and spill something like acetone or gel polish that could potentially damage the surface of whatever you're working on. I roll mine out over my desk and then I place a towel over top, and then when I'm done with the towel, I vacuum up the mess and toss the towel into the wash. If you're paranoid about aging your skin from constantly using a curing light, you can always apply a mineral sunscreen. I do this from time to time, mostly for the moisturization properties. You just have to make sure to wipe off the excess from your nail plate or your product will not adhere properly. You want to limit or just straight up avoid direct skin contact with gel products as much as you possibly can so that you don't develop a gel allergy or contact dermatitis. I get this question a lot, so I thought I would mention it in this refresher video. The reason why I always wear a glove on my right hand is to limit my contact with gel products. It's a precautionary thing. This is the nail length that I'm working with today. This is about 3-ish weeks of growth. Before I get anywhere near applying colored gel polish, I heavily focus on nail prep. Prep is key to a long-lasting gel manicure. Prep is basically the difference between a gel manicure lasting you 1 week or 4 weeks. These are the prep products and tools I started out with when doing my nails at home: a cuticle softener or remover, a cuticle pusher tool, 70% alcohol and lint-free nail wipes, a sharp pair of cuticle nippers, 80/100 buffing blocks, a nail surface cleanser, a dehydrator, an acid-free primer, a base gel. I always use the gelish foundation as my base gel because I remember reading about gelish products when I first started using them, and they were marketed as products that work in harmony with other brands. That was part of their name. It's normally frowned upon to mix and match gel systems because each system has its own formulation, but I've never had any problems using the gelish foundation under gel polishes by other brands. The only one I never mix with is C&D shellac, an LED lamp to cure it, and a 180/240 grit nail file. I've been using these prep products since I started doing my nails at home over 10 years ago. They're my tried and true favorite products, and they've never let me down. I've since expanded my collection as I like to alternate between different tools and products, but if I had to start over, this is what I would start with when prepping my nails for gel polish. This is the first gelish kit that I ever purchased, and it pretty much included everything that I needed to start out. I still use the curing lamp that came in this kit to this day. They have since created different versions of this starter kit, which I will link along with everything else that I'm using in the description box below. Okay, let's prep. I'm starting by applying the Sally Hansen Instant Cuticle Remover to the skin around my nails. I'm allowing it to sit for a couple minutes, and then I push my cuticles back using my cuticle pusher tool. I've collected all sorts of different cuticle pusher tools over the years. If you're intimidated by using a metal one, you can start out by using a wood or plastic nail stick. If not, you can use the paddle side of a metal one. I've also really been loving the plastic one by Olive & June, which I've featured in a previous video but forgot to show it in this video, so here's a snippet of that. It's actually pretty effective for a plastic cuticle pusher tool, and it would be great for beginners. I'm wiping off the mush left behind from the cuticle remover with a little bit of alcohol on a lint-free wipe. This next part is optional for you, but necessary for me. I'm using a sharp pair of cuticle nippers, and I'm gently trimming the dead hangy stuff left behind. I do this very slowly, and I only remove the white stuff, which is very clearly dry and dead, and I try not to cut into my live skin. Doing this makes a huge difference in the appearance and longevity of my gel manicures. Next, I'm roughing up the surface of my nails with an 80/100 grit mini buffing block. Using a more abrasive buffing block creates some texture on the surface of the nail, which makes the gel products adhere better and last longer. At this point, you can use a 180/240 grit nail file to file and shape your nails, but I actually like to save that step until after I've applied and cured my base gel, because the strength it adds to my natural nails prevents me from over filing them and making them look too short. If you want to file and shape your nails before applying the base gel, you can do so now. This is just a personal preference, as I tend to over file my nails when they're bare. I'm wiping off the dust and excess oils that may have been left behind from the cuticle remover using the C&D nail surface cleanser on a lint-free wipe, and then I move on to applying my prep products. First, I apply my dehydrator, followed by my acid-free primer. Although I consider it part of prep, technically base gel falls under gel application. And when applying gel, like I said, I pretty much always stick to the gelish foundation because it works well under pretty much all other brands that I've worked with except for C&D. I then choose the colored gel polish of my choice. In today's case, we're going to be working with Cherry Mocha by D&D. Top coat by Coupa. It's their Gelfinity non-wipe glossy finish top coat. This one has been my favorite for a while now. It makes the nails look so glossy and perfect. I make sure to have a few touch-up and cleanup brushes on hand. I use my C&D nail surface cleanser if I get any on my skin, and I always like to have a flash cure lamp close by to flash cure each nail to prevent bleeding as I work on the next nail before doing a full cure in my mini gelish LED lamp. I'm applying a thin layer of the gelish foundation and I cure it in my mini gelish LED lamp for 45 seconds. So now that my nails have some added strength from the base gel, I'm wiping off the inhibition layer and I'm filing and shaping using a 180 grit file. I've seen debates on whether or not the inhibition layer should or shouldn't be wiped away. I almost always wipe mine off with my C&D nail surface cleanser, and my gel manicures still last up to 4 weeks, so I don't find that it really makes a difference. After I've achieved my desired shape, it's time to go in with some color gel polish. Like I said, this is Cherry Mocha by D&D. Such a gorgeous shade, can't get enough of it. Perfect for fall. I apply a thin coat to each nail, and I just like to flash cure it before moving on to the next nail because I don't like it when gel polish bleeds outside the lines even a little bit, especially the darker ones. It's so noticeable when you get one little spot out of place. Flash curing for a few seconds just gives me peace of mind that it's not going anywhere. And if my application isn't perfect or I get any gel polish on my skin, I just dip my cleanup brush into my C&D nail surface cleanser and I clean it up. That's what I love about gel polish is it's not set until it's cured. I'm extra meticulous when applying dark shades because any imperfection is 10 times more noticeable. And after I apply my first coat to each nail, I give them a full 45-second cure in my mini gelish LED lamp. I'm applying a second coat of Cherry Mocha, and this time I make sure to cap my free edges. I'm also going in with a detail brush and making sure that I didn't miss any spots on the sides of my nails. And then I cure for 45 seconds. I'm applying a third coat. Not sure what happened to the footage of my pinky, but you kind of get the gist, so I'll just fast forward this part a bit, and once I'm done, I cure for 45 seconds. now it's time for some top coat. This one has been my favorite for a while now. It makes the nails look so glossy and perfect. It's by Coupa and it's their Gelfinity non-wipe glossy finish top coat. I apply it to each nail, making sure to cap the free edges, and I cure for 45 seconds. And last but not least, it's time to rehydrate with some cuticle oil. I like to put my favorite Chiara Sky cuticle oil in these handy little cuticle oil pens. I keep one in my purse, I keep one in my car, my husband's truck. Any spot that I frequent, you will find a cuticle oil pen. And that completes this portion of the video, the perfect DIY gel manicure at home.
4 to 6 weeks later.
I can't do an in-depth gel manicure video if I don't also include the removal process, right? These are my go-to products and tools for damage-free gel removal. A dust collector, always. This one is rechargeable, which makes it extra great. You may not think that you need a dust collector as a DIYer, but you really do. You don't ever want to risk breathing in nail dust particles. A 180 over 240 grit nail file or an E-file, nail foils, 100% acetone, and a cuticle pusher tool and some kind of buffing block to get any extra little bits off. When removing any gel product, I try to file off as much of the product as I'm comfortable with before soaking the rest off with acetone. This can be done with a hand file if you're not comfortable with an E-file, or if an E-file is outside of your budget right now. It just takes a little bit longer using a hand file over an E-file. I've linked the E-file that I'm using here, but I also linked a few less expensive options if you're just starting out. Now, if I'm gentle and I take my time, I can actually remove all of the product with an E-file without damaging my natural nail, which I've demonstrated on my index finger here. But when I don't feel like doing it, removing the top layer and soaking the rest with acetone is fine too. I removed the first couple layers with my E-file, and now I'm hydrating the skin around my nails before applying acetone because acetone really dries my skin out. When I first started doing my nails, I would just use cotton balls and aluminum foil with acetone to remove my gel polish, and then I discovered these nail foils with cotton already built into them, which saved me a little bit of time and effort, which is always a plus. So I apply a generous amount of acetone to the cotton part, I wrap each finger, and I let it sit for about 5 minutes to start. Most of the time, my gel polish crumbles right off, but sometimes it needs a little extra help from my double-sided cuticle pusher tool. I scrape the excess off very gently, and if it doesn't scrape off effortlessly, it means it's not soft enough, and then I have to just re-soak for a little bit longer. I also use my little buffing block to get any last little stubborn bits off. I'm using my mini crumb vacuum to clean up my workstation, brush off excess dust from my nails using some 70% alcohol and a nail brush, and then I rehydrate my cuticles with my oil. As you can see, my nails are in fantastic shape after removal, and yours can be too. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed my first video back and found it helpful. As always, everything that I use will be listed in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and staying subscribed, and I'll see you in my next one. Okay, love you, bye.